Today I made some green enchiladas, and these are probably the best green enchiladas that I have ever had, so let me show you how I made them. I'm going to start by working on my chicken. Sometimes I like to marinate my chicken, and that's what I'm doing today. So I'll be using some chicken thighs and all of the seasonings that you see here. And I'll also link the seasonings in the description box below. I'm going to place the chicken thighs in this bowl and add the seasonings. I kind of just eyeball the seasonings and really whatever looks good, but I season the chicken and then add some olive oil to allow it to marinate, and then I'm going to put it in the fridge for a couple of hours. Again, you don't need to marinate it. Sometimes when I really don't have enough time, I'll just let this sit on the counter while I prepare the rest of the ingredients. But today I was working on this ahead of time, so I covered it up with some plastic wrap and let it sit in the fridge for a couple of hours. Once I was ready to start working on my sauce, I pulled the chicken out of the fridge and I let it sit on the counter while I made the rest of the sauce to allow it to come to room temperature before starting to cook it. So now I'm going to start working on my sauce. I'm using all the ingredients you see here. I'm using 6 tomatillos, about a quarter of a small white onion. I'm using half a bunch of cilantro, 4 garlic cloves. I would usually use 2, but these were really tiny, so I'm using 4. And an Anaheim pepper, a jalapeno, serrano. And I'm also using some chicken bouillon powder, some cumin, and salt. I'm going to start by boiling my peppers, so I'm adding them to a small saucepan and filling this pan with water, and I'm going to set this on the stove for about 20 minutes to let those come to a boil and simmer for a bit. If you like your enchiladas more spicy, you can add more serrano pepper. I'm not big on spicy, so I only added 1 serrano, 1 jalapeno. And while the peppers cook, I'm going to start roasting the rest of my ingredients. I'm going to roast the tomatillos for about 10 minutes and then flip it over onto the other side. And I'm going to roast the onion as well. The garlic I'll do at the end because that roasts really quickly and I don't want it to burn. These tomatillos weren't really cooking through. They were more browning on the outside, so I added some foil over the tomatillos to help them cook through. And after about 10 minutes, the onion was done. So then I added my garlic. And again, these go really quickly. So I'm kind of just tossing them around and we'll remove those pretty soon. And after another 10 minutes, these tomatillos were done. So I removed them and added them to my blender cup. After about 25 minutes, the peppers are done. And you can see that they turned like a nice dark green color. So I'll remove those and then also add them to the blender. So there's the jalapeno, the serrano, and then I de-seeded and decored the Anaheim pepper before adding it in. And then I'm also adding the cilantro in there with a little bit of water to help everything blend. I'm going to start blending this just for a few seconds and then I'm going to season it. So I'm going to add some chicken bouillon powder to taste. I'm also adding a little bit of cumin and I added a little bit of salt to taste. And I'm going to continue to blend until it's a smooth sauce. I emptied out the saucepan that I used to boil the peppers and I dried it out and then I put it on the stove at a medium-low heat, added a drizzle of oil, and then added the enchilada sauce here. And I'm going to simmer it for about 5 minutes until the sauce thickens up and just continue stirring until it thickens up. In the meantime, I'm going to work on the chicken. So I placed my pan at a medium-high heat. I placed the chicken, cooked it for about 5 minutes on this side, then flipped it over, cooked it for another 5 minutes on the other side, and you can see that this chicken is like a really nice golden brown color, so this is perfect. After the chicken was cooked through, I removed it onto a cutting board, I diced it, and then added it back into the pan just for that extra crispiness. You can also shred it, and you don't need to add it to the pan, but it's what I decided to do this day. So now the chicken is ready, the sauce is ready, so I'm going to start building my enchiladas. On a griddle, I preheated it to a medium heat, and then I added a drizzle of olive oil and added my tortilla, and I'm kind of moving the tortilla around to make sure it's coated in the oil. And after it's warm on one side, I flipped it over, warmed it up on the other side, and then I very carefully removed it from the griddle and dipped it in the enchilada sauce. The tortilla is really hot here, so I was moving quickly because I didn't want to burn myself. I added some chicken down to the middle of the tortilla and then rolled it up to make my enchilada. I repeated this for the rest of the tortillas. I ended up getting about 10 enchiladas with this amount of sauce and chicken, and these were so good, so perfect, and I would definitely make these again, and I highly recommend them if you haven't tried them. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you on the next one.